So today I would like to give you some overview of the recent functionalities. So that is my agenda I would like to cover today. So as you may see, so maybe I will change it over here. So I will change the on the code tab.js. So I would like to go with you through the whole workflow. So it will be the real life examples on a demo project. We will execute the test case. We will synchronize the test management system. We will synchronize the manual test cases. We will see how we can see analytics. Okay, so let me just check that we have the screen. Okay, so we have a screen. Okay. Yeah, so and here I would like to show you how to analytics will work for you, so you can see the flaky test cases, the slow test cases, how you can apply different custom labels, how you integrate the Jira and make from them your test cases some living documentation, and I will go through some BDD if we have enough time, and I will show you how to work with a CI/CD integration. We have really nice features. So if you are here, so I will encourage you to sign up on a Testament. So you can go and on Testament and sign up today. You have 30 days free trial, and you can taste all the features that we have. Okay, let me get started with a demonstration here. So I have on our test management system, you can sign up by yourself easily. You have 30 days free trial, no issues here. And then you go into dashboard. So on this dashboard, you will see all the projects that you have on your company, right? So then you can see how many different projects it may be in your case. So it can be divided by the levels of the testing in your company, or it can be divided by some logic that you have in your company, kind of user administration, user management, or payment, something like this. So here I will use the already created the project that's called the app webinar. So here it's predefined because I already configured here some configuration for the Jira, for some liner, the ticket management tool, or kind of the Github. So, but it's empty, as you may see. It's empty project, so we'll go and synchronize the test cases. So what I would like to do to go with you, so I would like to synchronize the test cases that we have, test automation that we have. Then we will create the manual test cases. We will see an analytics. We will apply some custom labels. We will see how the analytics will help us to track the progress. And then we will tie these test cases with a Jira, and we will create some defects in ticket management system, and then we will go to the continuous integration, something like that. That's the plan. Okay, so let me synchronize the test automation. So on my side here, as you may see, I do have already test automation in place. It's a demonstration project. If you would like to, you can go to this demo project that is located on our GitHub account. So GitHub Testament.io examples. You may see that we have already prepared for you a lot of different demo test automation project that is fully executable. So you can use it to try the test management system if you want to. Okay, so here I do have it. And and I would like to move the test automation that I have here to test management system. So what we would need to do, we would need to go and import from the source code here, choose the code.js. You may see that we support a lot of popular tools like Playwright, Cucumber, Cypress, and so on and so forth, right? So here I will choose the JavaScript. In my case, in your case, it will be TypeScript or any other language. right? So then I copy this special command. So the special command generated for you, and I paste it in my repository. So what this command do, that it's called check test, it goes through the test cases, it introspects all the test cases that you have in your test automation repository, and if something is found, it's sent to test management system. As it is, you don't need to make any customization, you don't need to make any custom programming stuff. It's working out of the box, so just execute and you are done. So we will finish it. We will close this stuff, right? So yeah, we will open it. So to update the page, and then we see. So we have some test cases. So that is the test cases from test automation repository. So you will see that we have the exact structure that we have on test automation repository. You may see. So we have some files. Inside of the files, we have some tests, and the same, we have representation on test management system. So you can go here and you can see that we have some internally, we have source code. So it's not only syncing the files and the test cases, but also the source code. So that's fine. So we synchronized the test management. Into test management, we synchronize the test automation, and we are done here. So as easy as it is, it's just 1 second, right? So let's just create the manual test cases, because the essence of our system to manage the manual and automated test cases, right? Here I have a button to create the test suite, and here I will create the test suite that is called testing homepage for to do MVC application. And here, yeah, I can insert some test cases here, but I actually have some checklists. So on my planning session, so I come up with some list of the test cases, or checklist of the test cases that need to be created. So I can copy this the list, and I can go to the bulk edit mode here. I can paste this checklist, and one line will be one test case, so it will be the name of the test case, and here will be tag that will be applied here. Right, so let me create all these manual test cases. So we are done. Actually, you can see, so by the checklist, we easily can create 11 test cases. And now it's really good choice here, because you see the automated test cases, which is synchronized from test automation repository, and the manual test cases, they are living in like one space. Okay, so let's go to and fill a little bit these test cases with some descriptions and with some data, right? So because we have some test cases that is critical, for example, that is critical, that is less critical, you can set some priorities. So if you would like to set some descriptions, so sometimes some teams just use as a checklist without any descriptions. But if you need to pass this information to the other QAs who needs to repeat these steps to reproduce, and you need to have the expected results, you would need to go and define some descriptions. Here is simple editor, so we simplified as much as possible, so you don't have a lot of different fields. So it's work like IDE for the programming stuff, but it's working only for the manual key. Here you can define some step. We are using the asterisk to define that you have some step, and then you have some auto completion. That is cool feature that we have in our system. So yeah, here you may see that we have some steps. We can, for example, open the page, right? So then we can click on on the sign up here. Maybe we will define that we are going to test the net, right? And then we click on sign up, and then we will see some text that you are done, something like this, right? So you define your scenario, and then you can see how it's look like. So we can go to another, and then we can define some description. I already have some templates defined, so we don't need to write it with you here. So, and then you may see that it's look like this, right? So you have some requirements for this case, you have steps, you have the expected results, and so on and so forth. So the cool part here, because we intended to create the test automation integration as much as possible, we have code templates here. So once you created the description, based on this description, we immediately generate the scenario, right? So that is the code template. Of course, it's not implemented, and you may implement it, okay, with AI. Maybe it's possible even right now. But anyway, so you have the code template. You would need to copy this and implement it, right? So what else do we have? So if you would like to define some to this description, some supplementary information like attachments, so you can define some screenshots like this one. So just copy it and then just paste it from a buffer. So it works like a charm. So you don't need to save the picture to a local box and choose it. Just copy and paste it, and that's all, right? And then if you are making any changes, so from some of your team members and is making any changes, so you can go to the history and you can go and check that what exact changes do you have, right? Okay, so now we are done. So from one side we have the test automation, right? So here you may see that we have some test cases. So the description is here. So let me just also add the description for the automated test cases also, because the benefits of our system that from one side you may store the source code, and from another side it may be non-technical for non-technical person description, right? So here you may see what exactly is implemented, and here that's exact implementation in code. Okay, so let's just go to the execution. So we organize our automated and the manual test cases, and we would like to go and implement execution. Here to go with execution, you have of course, the manual and automated execution on Github here, or on any other frameworks. We prepared special reporters. Those reporters should be installed firstly in your test automation repositories, and if it's done, if it's configured, so then you can execute the test cases like this. So you just install the reporter and then you execute the test cases. The execution has been started, as you may see, right? Some test cases is executing, so we can finish it, and then we see that some test execution is started. You can see it's reporting to test management system in real time. So we see that test cases has been executed and it's flowing to test management system. So you don't need to wait until the end of the execution. So you can see the intermediate results. Of course, you can click on it, so you can see some stack trace and so on and so forth. Also, this progress bar is also from another side. It's a filter. You can click on it. You can filter only the failed result that you have. And then you can wait until this finished. So we would need to wait until the finished execution. So we can see, okay, we have some result that is failed, and we have some past test cases, and also you can see that there are some supplementary information is produced by this framework, which is screenshots and the videos and the benefits of using our system. So you can configure S3 account, and all this data will be flowing to the your S3 account and linked to the reporting. So that's the reporting that we have for test automation. So you can filter for the failed test cases. You can see, okay, we have some failures here. We can click on it, so we can see, okay, there are some kind of the issues. So we can go through the steps that was executed. We can see that we see some source code here, right? We can see the screenshots, where exactly it was failed, and we have some videos that is showing you what exactly we have implemented and how it was executed. So it's just overview of the test cases. You can see the list of the test cases. You can, of course, switch to the test suites. That is on the test suites level, on the high level view. You can understand where you have healthy test suites and test cases, and where you have the less good results or bad results, right? So you can check it out here. If you would like to work with report more in detailed way, so you can go to this detailed view. Here you have the structure. We will put some analytics over here. So if you have the historical data, let me just execute this once again. So we have more historical data. Yeah, you will see the flakiness of your test cases, the slow test cases, and of course, if you would like to traverse through the results, you can do this over here. Right. Yeah. So also, if you would like to share your results with your team members, you can share this by email, spreadsheets, and make it publicly available. Right. So, but that is the test automation. Let's go to the manual execution. On the manual execution side, so you may see that we have 11 test cases created. So if you have more, usually you have more, 100, 100, or even 70,000 test cases, right? Of course, you would need to select some test cases. We have test plans module. Here you may create some selection of the test cases that you would like to execute. So by some selection, so you can use the tags, for example, right? So let it be smoke, kind of that test cases, or by priorities, or by assignee, and so on and so forth, right? So kind of this stuff. So you can define, for example, that is the smoke tests. We will create some selection. I will go to the execution, and here I will execute these test cases manually. So that's how it's look like. We previously created such test cases from the checklist, and you may see from the left-hand side the list of the test cases you need to execute. And from another side, you have the instructions. You have the instructions you need to repeat. So, and then it goes through the steps. So, for example, here you can see the steps you would need to go and implement and execute it. So, if it's fine, so you go and say that is fine. So everything is fine. So you can put some message if you would like. So, but usually if this case is failed, then you put some messages and screenshots. So let's go to another. We see, okay, so if we would need to mark some steps we are executing, so you can click on all these dots and you can mark these test cases as passed or fail. So then you can see what exactly was executed. We will put, okay, there are some errors on sign up, something like this. And of course, we can go and we can put some screenshots immediately here, right? So, and then it will appear over here, right? And then you can go through all of this list of the test cases. So you can use the mouse, or you can use the shortcuts to quickly mark your test cases as passed, failed, or skipped. So I will use it to quickly go through. You may see that this nice progress bar that's showing you the progress, and you can see that all the statistics, that is also from one side, that is statistics, and from another side, that is the filter, right? So you can use to check it what failed test cases you have for non-finished execution, or you can see where you have the critical test cases that need to be executed, and so on and so forth. So let me just finish it. Okay, so let me just go to the test cases, and we have the same representation as for test management system. So let me execute again. So we have more historical data, and so on and so forth, right? So yeah, so that's the execution. So let me just also show you cross-browser testing. So you probably doing the mobile testing or cross-browser testing on the web application. So if you would like to execute test cases on the different platforms here, so you may define the different platforms. For example, here you can define that you execute your test cases on Chrome and Firefox. So you have the two environments, and you would like to execute the same test cases easily on the two platforms if you have the two monitors in front of you. So then you can see that you have the same scenario, but it should be executed on two platforms, right? It's Chrome and Firefox. So you go one by one and mark these test cases as passed, passed or failed, something like this. So we are quickly go through and mark these test cases something with the dummy data. So to check it out, and you may see we have a comparison. So you can see we execute the same test cases on the two different platforms. And if you would like to understand the details, of course, you can go inside of it and check it. But I have much better solution for you that is recently introduced here. That's the combined report. You may see the comparison of the sets of the test cases that is executed on these two platforms, and you may filter that. You have some failed test cases that failed on a no matter on one of these browsers. And you, of course, you can click on these dots, right, and see that there are some issues here or no, right? So what you can compare and go through, so to understand where exactly you have some issues and what test case is stable and what is not, right? And if you have some flaky test cases, it means it passed in one environment and failed on another, or you have the failed statistics that is failed on the both environment or passing on both environment. Okay, so that's the execution stuff. So here, once you have the historical data, right? So those historical data is going to the analytics. So in comparison with other test management tools and test automation reporting tools, we are not limiting with artifacts that is flowing to our system. So if you connected the S3 account, so you can unlimitedly send your artifacts, and we will store it historically on our system, and then we will show you. So based on the result that you have, we are building some widgets and some report that will help you to understand how healthy your QA processes and to understand so where you have some issues and what you would need to do, some exact points where exactly you would need to focus to make some impact, right, on your process. So here, the first, you can check that you have some automation coverage. You can check where test cases is not covered by test automation. Nowadays, we are moving really fast, and then we need to have test automation in place. But if not, so it's not big deal. So you would need to hire more people here, right? So if you execute the test cases and you have some failures, so probably like this, if you have the same failures, we will cluster all the failures that you have, and we will show you that one failure is impacting the different test cases. You may see it over here, right? So then you may do some actions from the top to the bottom. It means that you would need to fix this issue first, because it will fix the two test cases, right? So you may check that where you have the test cases that failing all the time, so it's not passed even once. So, or you can check where you have some slow test cases. So you can define what is slow test cases for you. So for example, it can be more than 100 milliseconds. And then we will show you, guys, so that's the bunch of the test cases that need to be fixed, and you would need to make some refactoring here. And from another side, you can see that what is passing your threshold. So it's easy to check and easy to do. So of course, you can click on this test cases, you can check the details and so on and so forth. So if we're talking about the other, so the slow, the flaky test cases, the flakiness, it's usual thing in QA world, I would say. Sometimes test case passing, sometimes test cases are failing, so you would need to fight with it. So, and of course, you would need to have this analytics over the historical data. You can define this history, so you would like to to track, for example, for these 4 weeks or 4 months. So, for example, historical data, and you can track that what test cases is flaky through the period of the time. And of course, you can filter by this flakiness, and you will need to do some homework here. So you would need to understand what is root cause of your flakiness. It may be your application, your design patterns, or implementation of your test automation. Okay. From another side, also here you may see that I have used the tags. These tags I apply to the test cases, and those are applied to the test automation, as you may see here. So when we execute in the test cases, you may see some kind of level of another level of information regarding the execution of your test cases. So from the reporting, you can see this test cases that is executed, but here you may see, for example, from the different perspective by the tags. So if you have some tags, you can click on these tags. You can see that some test cases are applied to this tag. You can see that how many of these test cases are automated and the manual. We will show you the test automation coverage, and we will show you the run statistics. So it's visualizing the tags that you applied, and you may do some appropriate actions. If you see that, okay, you would need to work on this task tag, so you can see that the coverage is low, so you would need to increase it at minimum 90%, for example, and you can see that that is failing, so you would need to check it out, right? From another side, also you have the environment. So we have been executing the test cases on the Firefox and Chrome. As you may see, we aggregate the same results on the different platforms, and we aggregate this to the statistics also. So you can click on it, you can see the previous executions, and of course you can go inside of it, and then you can track all of this stuff. So let's go to the Jira. So that's good stuff. So of course we executed the test cases. We found some defects, no matter it's manual execution or automated execution. So we found some defects, and we would need to write these defects, right? So we implemented recently different issue management system that can be created the defects. So it can be GitHub issues, AzureDevOps, or Liner. So other systems are coming, and also we have a separate, really, I would say, outstanding integration with the Jira. So here, once it's configured, so if you would like to add the Jira, so you would need to fill some credentials here. So you have the link to the documentation that is done on my side, and then you can check that is connected very well. So everything is connected and configured. So the same you can do with a Liner here. So that's our recent integration with the ticket management system. So once it's done, so then you can create some defects. So let's just go here and create some defects. So we will go to the manual execution, right? So we have here, for example, we have some failures that is stating that there are some issues, and we have some screenshots, we have some description, we have some code templates, and so on and so forth. So we would like to create some defects. So you can do this from this user interface, or you can do it also over here. So there is a small button that will give you this ability to create some defects. So if we're talking about the Liner, here you can define, for example, okay, so you have the defect, so you can create the defect, and we'll go and create it. So you may see it's created. So it's stated over here. You can see the small label. And if we'll go inside of it, so you can see there are a lot of information regarding the defects. So that is exactly we are stating during the execution. So that is the meta information, what this case is about. So is it critical? No. Of course, we are putting steps to reproduce. You don't need to make this manually. We are put this from the we take this from test management system and put this into defects, so that developer can go through. Of course, you have some attachments of the failures. You can open it, So yeah, hold on a second. You can open it, you can check it. Okay, so you have some failure over here and so on and so forth, right? So, but if we're talking about another, okay, so let me go and create here, for example, another on the Jira side. It's the same way. So we have the standard interface for different ticket management integration. So in the same way, it's working Azure for Azure DevOps, for GitHub issues, for the Jira also, right? So you can create some defect here. You can define it defect, and then it will go and create it. So you may see that we have it over here, and we have the link. We will open it, and we see that this defect is created. Okay. Yeah, so but it's not just only one thing that you can do with a ticket management system. So I would say that's the simplest way you can work, just to create the defects. Moreover, if you're talking about the test automation coverage or manual coverage against your tickets or against your requirements, so you can link your test cases that you have created with some tickets that you have, for example, on Liner or on Jira, right? For example, here, I would like to link this test case that is covering some user story, right? For example, here, I will open, for example, the user story. So that is the user story, okay? I will write this down, the description. That's okay. Let me just write some description. Okay, so that we have some user story. So it will be user story over here, right? So and then we have some test cases that is already linked to this user story. So we built for the Jira, we built specifically the Jira plugin that is nicely fit to the Jira. So to install it, you need to go to the Atlassian market. You would need to find the Testament.io plugin. You need to install it and configure it. Once it's done, so under the three dots for each user story, you will see this plugin. So it will give you a capability to trace the coverage. So how this user story is covered by some test cases, no matter it's automated or the manual one, right? So, and how you would link this test case to user story. So you would need to take this ID, we will go to this test case over here, right? And then we will go and link this to ticket, okay? So once it's done, once it's linked, you will see the small label over here that is identifying you that is done. We will open it, and we would need to check that is called create new task, right? So okay, so let me just open it. Okay, we would need to show for another project. Okay, and you may see that this one test case is linked, and you may see, okay, so there is a title, there is a type, status, priority, and so on and so forth. And you can see that you can check what is internals of this test case. So you can see the description of this. Okay. Finance. So we have done. So the same actually can be done, but with a liner. So if you would like to link this to the liner, let me just open the liner app. Liner app I do have on my side. So that's the user story, for example. So we just need to copy this, and we would need to paste this into this test case. So then it will be linked. You may see, so we have some link over here, right? So, and then you can see the in timeline, there is a link to this test case, which is assigned to this test case. Of course, on the Jira, you have much more full-featured plugin, I would say, but on the liner side, there is no possibility to create it. So we put it in the timeline with a link, so you can understand that some test cases is linked here. Finance. So that's the stuff. So regarding the Jira, maybe slightly I will identify you that we have a lot of the functionality over here. So you can create new test cases, so you can link, unlink, you can execute the test cases just in Jira. For example, if you have some test cases over here, so you can execute test cases, right, like a checklist quickly if you would need to, exactly in Jira. You don't need to go to the task management system to make the job for you, right? And here you will see the statistics only for this user story. Okay, so you created your test cases, then you link this to the user story, and under the user story in Jira you can execute it. And if you execute it, so test cases, you can trace the coverage from one side. We create a special test coverage plugin here, so that will report for you. So let me open the analytics. Okay, so we don't have it here, so maybe I can open another project, but okay, let me just open this one. So here you may see that we have some user story that is different defects or user story. You can click on it. You can see the different results for the different projects. So let's just wait until this gathered the results. And yeah, so you can check the test coverage and the sprint coverage. So here you can see the list of the user story. On each of the user story, you can see that test cases that is linked. So of course we will treat this and check that if at least one of these test case that is linked to the user story is failed, we will check, okay, so that user story is failed, so you would need to go and recheck it again. And here we're also showing you the test automation coverage. So that's the coverage here. So maybe I can show you also that the sprint coverage. On the sprint coverage, that is another project. I guess I do have, yeah, I do have it over here. So for example, if you have the sprint coverage, so if you're working like in Scrum and in sprints, so if you would like to trace the different coverage, that what the tickets is covered by the issues, so what is not covered, so how many of the manual and automated test cases that is linked to the user story, right? How many of these passed, failed, skipped, pending, not executed. So you can trace this per sprint if you want to. That's the coverage stuff. So with this stuff we have done, so you can do a lot of this. So from one side that is available on the Jira side, right? But from another side, you also can see the traceability metrics in test management system. So yeah, so let's move to the next one. Here we recently implemented the labels, that is called labels. So all the custom fields. So if you have some different workflows, for example, you would need to make some audits on the outdated test cases, or you would need to mark that some test cases need to be updated with some preconditions, or you would need to clean up your test automation or test repository, right, with some test cases. So you would need to mark somehow these test cases with some special labels that other team members will see it. Okay, so to make this done, we introduced the labels and the fields. Here you can see that, for example, we have some presets. So for example, we can create some label that it will be called review. If we will go inside of it, so you can see where this label can be applied. So if the tag, for example, we previously used, that is something stable and obligatory to mark some test cases regarding the business logic. So here it's labeled something, I would say, temporary that should be done. So it's labeled assigned and then unassigned at some point of time, because you just need to do some work on this test case and you don't need to have it anymore, right? Yeah, so here you can define where this label can be applied. So you can see it's applied on test level, suites, test execution, test plan, test tabs, and so on and so forth. And also you may see that that is a label that will be shown in test automation tree, or also it can be used in the filter. So let me just show you. Of course, you can click here and you can create any custom label or custom field. So like this one. So label, you can create up to your needs. So of course you can define so where you need to show it. So do you need to show it in tree? Do you need to show it in the filter? So where you would like to apply, and so on and so forth. So let me just delete this one, and I would like to show you how it may be working. So here you may see we have some test cases, and there are some test cases that need to be updated, right? So we need to review it. So you can go to this test case here, so, and then you can just go to the labels, and you can set the label that is to review. You can see that these labels also is shown here, right, on the tree. And also you have a filter over here. So if you will go to the manual test case, also you can apply this label. So, but for example, here is just applied to the one test case. If you would need to apply these labels to the multiple test cases, so then you can go to the multiple mode, multi-selection mode. Here you can define some test cases that need to be applied with these labels. Okay, and then you can apply this label over here. So by this label, of course, so by this label, so you would need to go and do some work. So of course, someone just need to go and search these test cases and do something about it. You would need to go and do some stuff. For example, here on the test automation side, so here maybe let's just apply also the labels for this test case. Oh, that's nice feature. I would like to show you. That's also the really cool feature. So if you have the test automation that is synchronized with test management system, and you have added the description. So once you will change the description, for example, like this, we will change one step in the description for the automated test cases that is living only in test management system. We will show you the label that is the out of sync. It means you would need to go and check what exactly was changed in this test case. You can see exact differences between the versions. And if it's everything is fine, so of course you can go and mark this test case as synchronized. But if not, so you would need to go and implement these changes and synchronize your test cases with test management system. Okay. Yeah, so also regarding the labels, so that's just only labels applied over here, right? But also it can be custom fields. For example, if you would like to define that some types of the test cases, right? So for example, or severities, right? So it's usual case. So when you would like to put some list of the values, so you would like to apply this to test case and test suites. So here you define some list of the values that need to be applied, and then from one side it can be a label if you don't have any values, and if you have some values, then it becomes a custom field. Okay, and then for example here you can go and you can check the case. So these two test cases, so I would like to mark this as a critical severity. Here you may see you have this list of the items, and it can be, for example, the blocker. We will add it, and also it's shown up here. You see, so it's shown here. So you see this that is the blocker. So if you don't want to see these custom fields in this tree, so it's available over here, right? But if you would like just to see it only in this case, so of course you can go to the labels, and you can disable this representation and tree. So we will save it, and we will go to the test tree. So we don't have it, but if we will go inside of it, so you can see that is the visible here. So you can actually really flexibly can identify where the labels and custom fields can be applied on the different objects, whether it should be available on them on labels on a test tree, so whether it should be represented there, or do you need to have the also the filter on top of this repository? So yeah, here, so we'll add it, and you can see that we have some severities over here, right? So that's the labels and severities. So regarding the agenda, so what we have covered a lot, I would say. So we are almost done. So I see that we almost 50 minutes already live streaming. So maybe I can show you the living documentation, and I guess we have done so far today, and other points we will cover in the next workshop. So meanwhile, I'm showing the living documentation over here. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, just put your questions into streaming while you are watching this in LinkedIn or in Twitter or in Facebook, right? So then I can answer this question that if you have such. Okay, so let me show you the documentation here. So if you are working with test cases, and if you keep in your test cases with a nice way that is described in a nice way, so you would like to share this with your developers. So we recently implemented the living documentation here, so you can enable living documentation. It means that we will give you some link to the repository that you can share with your team members, and here you can see the list of the test cases, so with all the descriptions and the screenshots if you have such. So this living documentation doesn't have too much historical data, I would say, but it has the description and the source code. So from one side, if you have some source code here, for example, that is the test automation, you may see you have the description, you have the source code that is automated, and you can share with a business analyst so to see what is covered from the QA perspective. And from another side, so if you are working together with as a central QA team, for example, you can check what is covered and what is not, right? So even not go into the test management system. So by the way, so if you have the living documentation, you can insert this living documentation into the knowledge management system like Confluence, for example, right? So here you have a link to this, how to make this configurable. So you may see that you can insert this as iframe, and then it will look like this. So you will install it like an iframe, and then will be showing you up in your page. So by the way, so we have extra options to filter your results. So if you synchronize your test cases with a test management system, then you link, for example, your test cases to Jira, right? And then you would like to outline your test cases on Confluence, so you can filter some test cases by the Jira. So you have this option to specify what test cases you would need to outline, so by some Jira ID, and it will be outlined on the Confluence page. So that's the living documentation. Fine, I guess we have run out of time, and I want to answer some questions if you have such. Do you have such questions? No. Maybe I can go to the chat. So nice. I see there are some comments over here. Yeah, so someone is asking me about the regarding the Brazil and Portuguese language. Of course I don't speak, but maybe in the future we will come to the situation where whether AI will do this work for us. But anyway, at this point of time, do you have any questions regarding our system, regarding the latest changes that we have? Oh, nice. I see that. Yeah. So there are people from the Ukraine. We support Ukraine. We are based from Ukraine, and we are we are from Ukraine. So it's really nice to see the uh, other people from the Ukraine also here. Finance. So do you have any questions? I guess so. If not, so we can close this call. But before I will close this workshop, so I guess we can suggest you some cool thing that we have over here. I would like to give you some hot offer. So the hot offer as consisted from the enterprise plan. So we providing you an offer for the enterprise plan for today and for tomorrow. So if you would like to sign up and upgrade to the enterprise plan, you can ask in live chat. So you can ask the promo code to enterprise plan. So our usually for the small teams, we have enterprise plan for $50 per user per month. And here you can have this enterprise plan for the $30. So that's the limited promotion, just only for today and for tomorrow. If you are interested in our system and if you like it, so just go to the live chat today and tomorrow and upgrade your account. So with a promotion code, and you will have this discount for 1 year. So yeah, it's for 1 year, and you have unlimited amount of the users that can be applied to this promotion code. Fine then. I actually really glad to see that you have been joining for this workshop. I hope you enjoy the system that we have. I hope that you will find that our system is really cool and nice to try with processes and test automation processes. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We are available on the Slack, and we are available in a live chat on test management system. So you can go to our landing page, testnet.io, and on the footer you can find the Slack, and you can add yourself to the Slack. We are supporting the different teams. Or maybe I can show that. Okay, so I can show that we are supporting different Slack users. So it's better to show it, right? So here you may see that we have a lot of the different teams over here. So you may see that we have a lot of the teams. So if you are the company that would like to have some private conversation with us, if you would like to discuss the things that is working, that is not, if you have some feature request and so on and so forth, we can create the private channel for you, for your team, so you can invite any team member there. And from our side, we will add the also team members on our side, so you can see we are discussing different stuff and so on and so forth. So we can create this for you also. And here, if you can go to the general section, here you may see the different activities we are doing. So we are doing a lot of different features. And the next big thing that we will do is optimization. So we have one big client that is having 70,000 of the test cases, which is really big amount. And we are making this optimization for our system, so it's work really nice. So for example, 3,000 of the test cases can be loaded kind of in 1 second. So it's kind of optimization we are doing. Fine then. Yeah, so I encourage you to try TestNet. I encourage you to go to the Slack, and what I would like to wish you, happy testing and happy test automation with test management system, TestNet.io. Nice to hear you, and nice to see you next time.